You remember those death threats that I got the other day? Well, we've gotten a follow-up to that. So I think it's going to be a good idea for us to listen to this together. I've listened to all of a minute of it, and there's an interesting plot twist within that first minute, but I'm just going to go ahead and get to playing the video so that we are we're not waiting any longer. But here we go. Let's go ahead and see what we are dealing with today. Also, a Nubian. Pernia, thank you for dropping a nuke while we're doing this. And a Nubian, thank you for giving your points that now are... They're just uwu. They just get converted to uwu. I have an hour of this shit now. Oh boy, I hope we're not dealing with the death threats for an hour. That would be interesting, fun, and great.
Hello, Christopher Sablus. Or Suris. Look, I saw your video.
Okay.
I have many things to address about. Yeah, I have autism. I have a lisp.
Okay, so I never actually made fun of your lisp. I pointed out the fact that when you are giving somebody a death threat, it is a good idea to edit out your stutters.
Yeah, I know you were going to make fun of my voice.
Yeah, look, when you start with a death threat, anything is on the table. Like once you start talking about nixing somebody's life, anything is open for discussion at that point. You've thrown away civility completely.
Secondly, first off, man, about fighting me.
You're the one who mentioned fighting me, actually.
Dude, if you look like the way that you look like in person...
I do, actually. Look. It's me.
It's like, buddy, I literally work out every day. I lost 20 pounds. I used to weigh free...
Hey, congratulations. I'm happy you lost 20 pounds. That's an accomplishment.
340. I practice boxing.
Okay.
I practice shadow boxing as well.
And I practice boffer sparring. What of it?
All you do is sit on your ass on a computer.
I mean, yeah, it's my job. What do you expect?
And yet you talking about you go, oh, I could fuck you up.
I never actually said I could fuck you up. I don't believe I actually said that ever in the video. I understand if maybe the ability to comprehend words coming from people's mouths is a bit difficult sometimes, but I never said I would fuck you up. I don't know if I'd fuck you up. It's not my business to know that.
But you ain't gonna do shit, buddy. It's like, dude, I could literally run a marathon better than you.
And I don't care. I feel fine. I don't care if I can run a marathon better than somebody else. I don't judge whether I'm smarter than somebody or better than somebody at card games, or if I'm morally right on an issue on whether I can physically outdo them.
And mind me this, I'm 320. That's to be impossible. Like
no, there are people of multiple weight ranges that can do all kinds of things. Cool, you're 320. I'm currently 270. I am proud that you managed to lose 20 pounds, though. That's cool.
Like, dude, hey, you look at yourself, you look like an overweight person, my dude.
I look like an overweight person. Is that perhaps because I am an overweight person? Like, my guy, I am overweight. There is no denying that. You apparently are also overweight. If you are 320, we are both overweight. We can go on a weight loss journey together, but instead you decided to talk to me about how I needed to die. That, like, there's a difference between these two things. I'm at the point right now where I want to listen. I want to listen to what you have to say, because it sounds like you're on your own little journey like I've been lately. And that's cool. I'm happy for that. But I'm always going to have to contextualize that with your want for me to die.
And I'm not trying to make fun of you because you're white.
I thought you were talking about my weight. When did me being white come up?
It's like, buddy, what are you going to do in a boxing match?
Box? That's what you do, right?
All I got to do is tie you out and you're done.
Cool.
It's like, I play football. I even play pickup basketball.
Neat. I played basketball in high school too, and soccer, and a little bit of football. Cool. I also did mostly martial arts sparring, because that's what I found fun. And?
You probably never did that in your goddamn life. So I already more athletic than you. So it's like all I gotta do
And?
is just slam you, unless you know some bicycle. Even if you know some bicycle, I'm still gonna fuck you up.
Okay.
And also, let's talk.
I made the joke in the previous video. I made the joke about this person being the Xbox 360 live chat equivalent of person who just discovered slurs and wants the entire world to know. This isn't changing my opinion at all. This is literally the exact stuff that we got used to hearing over voice chats for years. I'm expecting in the next 8 minutes of this video to hear the myriad ways in which he's going to fuck my mother. Because, again, that's literally what we dealt with in the Xbox 360 live days. I didn't own one myself, but whenever I went to my friend's house and he was playing Halo 3 or in a COD lobby or anything, I got to hear this shit. I got to hear this all the time, and I was eternally thankful that my online shooter was Conduit on the Wii. Anyway, let's continue.
How about this whole, oh, I could punch a Nazi. Buddy, you ain't about that life, man.
You actually don't know how I grew up. I grew up in a ghetto. I've been in fights. I'm not saying, oh, I need to fight. Oh, I need it. No, I don't define myself with my ability to fight. I'm simply saying there are certain people in the world who deserve punches. And the overwhelming freedom of an American fist is amazing paired with a Nazi's chin.
Because first off, I know multiple Nazis. According to your logic,
you know multiple Nazis. I could not have I had no idea when you ended your last incoherent rant talking about how Jewish I looked. I could have never assumed that you knew multiple Nazis. Do you break bread with them too? Maybe you should stop that.
that could fuck you up. Someone like 60 Crusader, who's a Muay Thai fighter, could definitely fuck you up. Someone like Sam Heisen, people want to call Sam Heisen a goddamn Nazi because...
Do you know these people? Because you're naming somewhat prolific people. Do you know these people, or do you just watch them on YouTube and therefore you have a very parasocial relationship with them? Which one is it?
Of this whole Hassan Piper nonsense.
Piker.
He will definitely fuck you up in the ring. So okay, fight these people then. If you think
I don't need to fight those people. I have no need to fight those people. I think that I am correct when it comes to issues of morality and issues of humanity. Note, there was never a point where I went, oh, I can fight you. I can beat you the fuck up. That's never a thing that I did. You did that. You are projecting. The most I did during that video was tell you how to give a better villain speech, which, congratulations, I am proud of one thing. The plot twist in the first minute of this is that you actually decided not to use a voice changer. Thankfully, you learned your lesson from last time when I just made your voice come through anyway, because a voice changer is largely useless to people whose entire job deals with engineering audio. Like, it's not hard to pull a person's voice out of manipulated audio.
you could fight a goddamn Nazi, I mean, if you think you could fight a Nazi, okay, fight them.
Why wouldn't I just... Look, I'm not saying I need to fight you, but why would I not? I'm just curious, because if the entire point of this is for you to threaten me, why would you then hide behind these other people?
If you want to knock out Nazi someone, and first off, man, I'm not a fucking Nazi. How
you're not a Nazi, and yet you talked about how Jewish I looked? I don't know, man. You're not a Nazi, but you seem to talk about all these Nazis you know? I don't know, man.
Can a black person be a Nazi?
That black people can easily be Nazis. What? Wait, how do you think a black person can't be a Nazi? What? There are black Nazis. There were Jewish people who worked for the fucking Nazi party. What?
Doesn't fucking make sense, bro.
It does.
It's like...
Look, just as there are white people who can engage in the whole white guilt thing, thinking that they're the worst of all the races because of colonialism or some shit, it's very easy for somebody who would otherwise be oppressed by the Nazi regime to otherwise completely agree with Nazi ideology. I'm sorry, but who here has seen the Boondocks? I'm just saying, Uncle Ruckus wasn't just a stereotype. That person exists. That type of person exists.
Why would I be part of something that Hitler do not like? Just because I do not like Jews does not mean I'm a Nazi.
My guy! My guy! What word would we use to describe a modern anti-Semite? What word would you use to describe a modern anti-Semite? What would that word be?
It's the main reason why I don't like Jews. It's like, buddy, Jews are the bane of my existence.
How? You've probably never even met a fucking Jewish person.
Because here's the thing with Jews, right?
Uh-huh.
Jews always play the victim. They always play this whole victim mentality, right? They always play this whole X, Y, and Z, because once you because you could criticize like every other race of people, but the moment that you criticize Jews, you are called anti-Semitic. Like,
no. Okay, look, so you understand, there's Judaism, the religion, there's being Jewish, the ethno-religious category, and then there's being a Zionist, where somebody wants to be a full advocate for Israel and damn near all of its atrocities it's committed. It is perfectly reasonable to criticize somebody's Jewish faith if there are aspects of that faith that you disagree with. I do it with Ben Shapiro all the damn time, and I don't know when the last time I was called an anti-Semite for it was, but I don't think it's actually happened. On top of that, I think I've also criticized the concept of Zionism quite a lot on my channel. I'm especially going to have to do it here now because of things that have been going on with Hamas and Israel now, so cool. I guess if you want to see what happens when you criticize these things that you call Jewish and you don't get called an anti-Semite, it's perfectly easy to do so. All you have to do is just not be an anti-Semite, and then suddenly people don't call you anti-Semitic. It's weird. If you're tired of people calling you anti-Semitic, then maybe just don't be a fucking anti-Semite. You're sitting here going like, I'm not a Nazi, but these Jews, I don't like them.
if you could criticize Israel for their war crimes against every other country, but yet
Every other country, you mean mostly the Arabic countries in their vicinity, and the stuff they've done with Palestine and the Gaza Strip, right? I'm not saying I don't have an entire legion of notes on this right now, so that I don't get my shit rocked when I talk about this. But you know, whatever.
if you criticize that country, if you criticize Israel, you are anti-Semitic.
No, it's perfectly reasonable to criticize Israel for its war crimes and starvation of a region that they have been strangling. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to criticize. Again, the statement you made before is the reason I don't like Jewish people, the reason I don't like Jews. And then you go, all I did was criticize Israel. No. Criticism of Israel is in one category, and criticism of Jewish people is in another category. It's like criticizing America for the imperialism that it has imposed on other countries and the rabid need for oil in the Middle East that it has gone for, versus criticizing Americans who just happen to have the circumstances of being, burping, who just happen to have the circumstances of being born here. There's a difference between the two of those, but that's okay. I'm starting to get a better picture of why you can't understand the nuance between those things.
It's like, buddy, and about the whole kike.
Hey, there's that slur again.
That shit is true. Like, look up Jewish oral circumcision. That shit is true.
Yes, the way that traditionally years and years ago that rabbis would perform a circumcision was in fact by removing the foreskin and then sucking it off because it was considered the most sanitary way of doing it. That is not the way that modern circumcisions are performed these days, and it's also not something that I advocate for in the first place. You're not wrong, but again, there's a difference between going, this is a thing that historically Jewish people practiced, and going, those dick-sucking pedophilic Jews! There's a difference between those two things. If you can't understand the difference between those things, then maybe you should, I don't know, shut the fuck up about anything political. Please.
Like, shit, the Tubberman, the Jewish book, literally have Jesus boiling and shit. They literally are racist as fuck, bro.
Wait. Jesus boiling in what? Hold on. Play that again?
Literally have Jesus boiling in shit. They literally are racist as fuck, bro.
Are you trying to say that every person who is Jewish is racist because of a single book you're talking about where Jesus is boiling in shit? You're talking about in the Pentateuch, right? Hold on. In what?
That shit is true. Like, shit, the Tubberman, the Jewish book, literally have
the Tubberman? I don't think you know this, but no ancient Jewish literature mentions Jesus. Judaism as a faith is older than Jesus. What? You said you think he means the Talmud? None of that makes any mention of Jesus. The Jewish faith has the position that their Messiah has not come. So Jesus is in the Talmud in hell, burning and flaming shit. He is in the Talmud. Okay. Talmud is the central text of rabbinic Judaism and is a primary source of Jewish religious law. Judaism doesn't have a Messiah at present, last I checked. Yep. The references to Jesus as the Messiah in Christianity were included in the 3rd and 4th versions of the Talmud, and they were parodies of the New Testament narratives. Gotcha. Okay, so I stand corrected there. I stand corrected on what was in the Talmud. That is fair. However, that's not racism. Putting Jesus boiling in fecal matter is not racism. If anything, you're deism, anti-deism, like being against a particular God figure or a Messiah figure, that's not racism. Also, last I checked, wasn't Jesus Jewish as well? I thought you said the black people couldn't be Jewish because, or couldn't be Nazis because that would make them anti-black people. But hold on a second, that doesn't make any sense. How can the Jewish people be racist against Jesus if Jesus was a Jewish person? I don't think you've actually thought any of your arguments through. I don't think you've thought any of it at all. I think you're just parroting what other people have said, and that's it. It's kind of a sad existence to have not a single thought in your head that belongs to you.
Jesus boiling and shit. They literally are racist as fuck, bro. They literally are racist as hell towards non-Jews. Why do you think that they call them
Jesus was Jewish, though. I may have been wrong for all of 20 seconds, and then got corrected by my chat, thankfully, on the Talmud. But at least I got Jesus's race correct. Jesus of what? I'm sorry. Jesus of what? Jesus of Nazareth. Oh. Jewish territory. Got it.
Goy. Goy is a racist term towards non-Jewish people.
Yeah. You can't do this whole, they have a racist term against non-Jewish people. Allow me to use the racist term against them real quick. Like, no.
Like, buddy, okay, you claim you're not Jew, but they don't like you.
I'm not your buddy, guy.
They don't like blacks, whites, or Hispanics.
I'm pretty sure that that's on an individual basis. You can't just go, yes, all of the Jews don't like this. I know plenty of Jewish people who are perfectly okay with people of all races and religions. I'm not sure if you can say the same. I'm not sure if you can say you actually know any Jewish people at all. I sincerely hope this person has never been invited to a bar mitzvah.
No, like no one. They greedy. It's like, look at the bar affairs. Look at all these other tragedies, and guess who had their hands in it? The slave trade. You know who performed the slave trade.
I don't want to make fun of a stutter or a lisp. I just want to say you have access to editing software. If you want your point to be heard and understood, edit out your bad takes and leave in your good ones if you are not doing something live. I'm sorry. It's not ableist to point out that you, as a human being in the year 2023, have access to DaVinci Resolve and Audacity for free. Midnight says, I want to mock this guy's intelligence, but it's too easy.
They're mostly the Jews that fund that type of shit. That fund the slave trade.
Okay, so we have the Jews funded the slave trade conspiracy. Do you know why the Jews funding everything conspiracies even began? Do you know why that happened? So in Nazi Germany, there was only a handful of jobs until, the entire full-on genocide went into brutal effect. There were only a few jobs that Germany was okay with Jewish people having. And one of those jobs was as bankers. It was one of the few jobs they allowed them to have, which allowed them to then create the myth of the Jewish banker, of the international Jew. The associations between Jews and money got perpetuated and also instigated and also created by Nazi Germany at the time because they only allowed a handful of working positions for Jewish citizens, and one of them was banks. So when you do this whole look, the Jewish money, they fund this, they fund that. My guy, don't. Every country, every organization has its fingers in a billion pies, and half of them are corrupted and tainted. Gainer says, close, the banker thing dates back to medieval times. The stereotype existed beforehand, but was perpetuated in large part by Nazi Germany. Also, yeah, no, I like how pretty much everybody in my audience who is autistic is just going, I'm autistic. That's not an excuse for being like this. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Let me see here. Jewish banker origins. Court Jews were Jewish bankers or businessmen who lent money and handled the finances of some of the Christian European noble houses, primarily in the 17th and 18th century. They were precursors to the modern financier or secretary of the treasury. Okay, so we're looking like anywhere between 17th and 19th century is where that's mostly beginning. And then, of course, we get Nazi Germany later perpetuating that very, very strongly. That autism and mental illness and other types of neurodivergence are not excuses for being a bigoted asshole. Yep. Basically. Also, see, Jassa says, you owe me... Oh, yeah, I do, actually. 22 minutes ago, Jassa dropped a thing that turned into an... Ooh, because of course it did. Because of course it did. Stop says, like especially the rambling, it's not hard to pause the incoherent ramble and think for a second. It's really not. You have the ability to do this. And here's the thing. I'm okay getting corrected when I get something wrong. Hell, twice during this stream, I have been redirected or corrected on something that I was a little bit wrong about. Once when talking about the placement of Jesus in the Talmud, and another time on the full-on origin of the Jewish banker meme that Germany perpetuated when it was under the Nazi regime. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and take those. I'm perfectly fine taking those corrections. I wonder if I can say the same for the person who says that it's impossible for him to be racist because he's black.
And not that, but they also funded, taking away money from black people. Like, look at the hip hop industry. Like, you notice how you got these Jews out here that just do this type of shit. They literally steal money from black people.
I've never heard Jews steal money from the hip
White
hop industry.
societies.
I've never heard that, but I have heard. There was a song I heard from Jay-Z that had some fairly anti-Jewish sentiments in it, and it was talking about the ways in which the ways that he was going to be saving money for his kids by buying art and then letting that art appreciate over time, and then that way his kids would have money for when they get older. I understand that, but are you just taking all the points from Kanye West? Also, fun fact, there's this lovely article right here that I found in just a handful of seconds. The music industry's long history of dividing blacks and Jews. By unpacking the role that this music industry has had in fracturing this cultural divide, we can focus on what makes us the same. Wow, that's interesting. That's only a title, but that's maybe something that we should look at later. You think so? I think so. That Cube's diss track against NWA specifically pointed out multiple times that their manager was Jewish and pointed that out as a bad thing. Oh boy. I'm starting to get a better picture of who you are, Nathaniel. I'm starting to get a very strong picture of who you are. The picture I'm getting is somebody whose entire perspective on reality has been shaped by the media around him. You have content creators you listen to, and you have music that you listen to, and as opposed to taking them as touchstones in your life and just moving on, you're allowing them to shape your entire identity. And that's making it to where whatever position those people take, you end up reinforcing for yourself. So African-American anti-Jewish sentiment started because of Henry Ford. Ford was one of the few people who would employ African-American workers, and he would distribute copies of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion to workers regularly. That makes sense. He did make that article that was like the problem of the American Jew. Jesus Christ.
In this society in Sincero, it's like, this is why I don't like the Jews. Because of the history. It's like, it's not racist.
So you don't like the Jews because of the history. Not because any individual Jewish person has done anything to you. Not because of anything systemically that you've suffered under a Jewish regime of some kind, but because you've read some things. You're a very pathetic person.
To point out obvious patterns. It's like, buddy, you cannot claim that, oh, you're racist when you point out obvious patterns. Because let's say this, right? I'm black. So
yeah.
And you probably do believe that black people can't be racist.
Say that again?
Racist when you point out obvious patterns. Because let's say this, right? I'm black.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you probably do believe that black people can't be racist. Because we both agree on that, right?
No, we don't agree on that. Black people can be racist. Anybody that believes that racism must be top-down systemic is an idiot, period. Anybody that believes that a minority group cannot be racist is an idiot. Let's make that clear. Anybody who believes that a black person cannot be a racist person is an idiot and deserves ridicule, period.
But why is it in today's world that if a black person say they don't like white people, it's okay. But if a white person say they don't like black people, they are called racist?
Well, let's see here. You just said that a black person can't be racist, so would that be it? Also, the reason that happens, the reason that people are more okay with making fun of, say, white people, like me, and not black people, is because typically black people, when they are made fun of, it's made from a position of power downwards. Whereas when people make fun of white people like me, it is usually made from a position without the power going upwards, typically. Now, do I agree with that? Not necessarily. I'm okay with certain statements being made that are racial, in their in the way they come out. Like if somebody makes fun of white people for not being able to handle spices on their food, or when I go to a Mexican restaurant and I'll order something and I'll just go, "Hey, how spicy is this?" And they go, it's very hot." And I'll go, "Is it white people hot or is it like actually hot?" Those are things I'm generally okay with because those are things that are benign. When people start going like, white peoples are colonizers and oppressors and they need to be killed. Like, once people start doing that, then it's no longer okay. Then somebody's just being a racist asshole. Said also, I've never been targeted for being white, so it doesn't hurt. Said, white people hot is about hot enough. No, it's really not. I need to shit blood after I eat my food.
It's like, but no one called a black person that they don't like white people racist. There's no one cares if a black person assault a white person and call them cracker, all this. But if a
No, people care about that quite a lot. I care about that shit quite a lot. If you assault somebody because of their race, then you are a piece of shit, and I care about that. You are making the assumptions about what I do and don't believe without actually knowing it. Now, the funny thing is, I'm having to piece together disparate pieces of information based on 20 minutes of audio that you've provided me. Fun fact, you can actually find damn near any political opinion of mine just by browsing my channel. There is hundreds upon hundreds of hours of content on my channel where if you truly believed, as you say here, that I think that black people can't be racist, you'd find going through my backlog of content, especially when I was talking about the BLM riots, I do believe black people can be racist. But that's okay. I understand not going through my entire, bevy of my catalog of shit that I go over because nobody has that kind of time. But I am saying don't tell me what I believe when I've stated otherwise in the past.
But a white person saw a black person and call them the N word, call them nigger. Oh, everyone this become mainstream media, mainstream news.
Because the term, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Twitch might ban me for this one because they did a debauch. But here's the thing: cracker is hardly a loaded term. It is hardly loaded in any way, shape, or form. It's become more akin to an insult you levy at white people, but it's never really reached the level of a slur. But if you use the N-word, that's actually a slur. Now, I'm not going to comment on you using it. You get a pass for using it. You're you.
It's like that fucking bullshit, bro. That's fucking bullshit, my dude. It's like, dude, you telling me that?
Is there a point to this?
But trans people don't do this. But yet, I could show multiple articles of trans people.
Then do it. You sent me this in an email. If you can show me multiple articles of anything, then maybe you should do that in your email.
Molesting people, bro. It's like you got trans women.
Oh, I'm not saying that trans people don't molest people. I've never said that. Not once have I said that trans people do not molest people. Trans people are people. They are human beings, and human beings are absolutely terrible people. But yeah, no, there is no structure to any of this. Please, I beg of you. I beg of you. A script, bullet points, something.
That literally go into these women's prisons and molest women.
Go into these women prisons? So wait, are you telling me that there are people who just waltz into a woman's prison and then molest them? Is that a thing that happens? Also, statistically, actually, you are right that people get molested in prison, and you are right that sometimes trans people in prison molest people. But did you know that actually, here, let's go ahead and do some due diligence real quick here. Let's do some due diligence in prison here. All this shifting the goalposts is getting tedious. Yep. Let's see here. Let's see here. Is that Clueless Expert? Thank you for Redeeming your points that's getting turned into an ulu. Jesus Christ. And Ben Buns, thank you for the follow. Thank you for that one. Let me see here. And stats. As a writer, this guy's whole rant is so disorganized, I find it quite triggering, and I'm not even a very organized person. Yeah. Let's see here. I have the lifetime rates of incarceration. I have prisoners self-declaring as transgender. Lesbian and bisexual women overrepresented in prison and local jails. Let's see here. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people are disproportionately impacted by violent victimizations. Let's see. Trying to find specifically, and if somebody in chat can help me with this one, because I don't want to fire from my hip, because I don't want to be the person that says, ah, yes, I have a source on this one. Let's see here. Transgender victim sexual assault. Let's do this one. Commit a hydrate. Thank you very much for that one. I will do that. But if somebody can help me find the statistics on trans people who commit rape in prison versus are raped in prison, which, mind you, the numbers will always be a little skewed because not everybody reports every single rape that happens. Statistics documenting trans people's experience of sexual violence indicate shockingly high levels of sexual abuse and sexual assault. 1 in 2 transgender individuals are sexually abused or assaulted at some point in their lives. Some reports estimate transgender survivors may experience rates of sexual assault up to 66%. Often coupled with physical assault or abuse. This indicates the majority of transgender individuals are living with the aftermath of trauma and fear of possible repeat victimization. He is using Boeing 747s to move the non-existent goalposts. What are we looking for? We are looking right now for the rates of how often trans people are victims in prison of sexual assault versus are the ones committing sexual assault. That's what we're looking for right now. That's what we are looking for here. Sexual assaults can be perpetrated by any individual. However, it's particularly startling when professionals who are in helping roles abuse their power and sexually assault individuals they are supposed to be serving. Sexual assault perpetuated against transgender people may be a component of anti-transgender hate crimes. Sexual assault in prison by gender demographic? Sure, that should work. Let's see here. Let's try that. Male inmates are more likely to be victimized by other inmates, while female inmates are more likely to experience abuse at the hands of staff members. That's interesting. Let's see here. Does it account for trans people? 15% of trans individuals report being sexually assaulted while in police custody or jail, which more than doubles for African American transgender people. Interesting. Do I need to make a bread pudding and start a brew myself? That sounds about right. Around 8,000 women and men a year get sexually abused in correctional facilities. But what we're still not finding... Prevalence of rapes were highest in female inmates, with 21% reporting an incident of some type of inmate-on-inmate sexual victimization in the previous 6 months. The rate was 4.5 times higher than that of male inmates. What was the one saying, under saying 40%? Let's see here. Federal survey. Of course, it's going to take forever to actually load because when we're recording a video, that's when Google doesn't want to load very quickly. So let's go ahead and just try that one again. So the stream has already given me an aneurysm. I've viewed enough right-wing cope today. Let's see here. Do. Let's say transgender inmates experience disproportionately high rates of harassment and sexual violence from other inmates and staff. 2007 study by the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation found that 59% of trans women within California prisons had reported a sexual abuse, with 50% of all trans inmates reporting sexual abuse while incarcerated. 35% of transgender inmates interviewed experienced sexual assault as well. 17% of incarcerated transgender people reported staff misconduct towards them. These statistics are clear evidence that systemic problems within penitentiary settings are what lead to transgender inmates experiencing disproportionately high rates of harassment and sexual violence. Of course, CNN has an article as well. Let's see here. Transgender prisoners are victimized at rates nearly 10 times that of prisoners in general. Man, all of this is actually starting to seem like trans people have the shit end of the stick in prison, not the other way around. It's like you have this fantasy that trans women go to jail so that they can begin harassing people. Like, they just throw away their lives so that they can get in the facility and start hurting women. But that's not what any of the data seems to show. Trans women are incarcerated with men, and it puts their lives at risk. Jasmine Rose is a woman, but for much of the last 23 years, she was incarcerated at a men's facility, and she was subjugated to rape, sexual assault, and abuse because she was trans. Jones, who was released from prison in May 2020, is now a legal assistant at the Transgender Variant and Intersex Justice Project in San Francisco. She was repeatedly raped and sexually assaulted by male prisoners and abused by male correctional officers across multiple facilities throughout her multiple stints in custody. At the time, Jones did not feel like she could report the assaults to corrections officers for fear of retribution. She heard similar fears from other trans women serving with her. She said, "We lived with it. We lived with the abuse." As of last year, the vast majority of incarcerated trans people in America are still housed in facilities based on sex they were assigned at birth. And this is despite there being robust evidence that trans women are at a significantly higher rate of abuse and assault than the general prison population, which we already checked on earlier. This is mostly just showing the exact same stuff that we already found. So, cool. I think we've got at least enough evidence to say that, you're actually on horseshit. Trans people are more likely to be assaulted in prison than anyone else in prison. And you should care about that more because you seem to put a whole lot of weight on race. And if you're black and black transgender women have a double rate of being sexually assaulted, you'd think you would care about that. But I'm not the one that brought race into the ordeal. That was you. Just like I'm not the one that brought beating me up into the ordeal. That was also you.
Like, look at Chris Chan, for example, bro.
I don't want to talk about Chris Chan. Chris Chan's a piece of human garbage. There is far more going on with Chris Chan than just they're trans and therefore they're bad.
Chris Chan literally molests his fucking mother. And don't that person claim to be trans? Like,
yeah, did the being trans have anything to do with it? No. I don't know if Chris Chan is truly trans. I don't care either. I don't care enough about pieces of shit to think about them more than I have to.
Like, come on, bro. And you might say, oh, not all trans people do that. Okay, if that's the
Yeah, I know not all trans people do it. I'm dating one of them.
case, then why aren't these trans people that don't do that shit speak out again? Because you know why?
Because it's not their responsibility? Like, I'm sorry, just like it's not my responsibility to get up on a podium and talk about how hashtag not all white men every time somebody does something stupid. Greywolf says, oh yeah, I'm an avid Christorian. There's a lot more to the story than that. Oh, I know. Also, hi, Greywolf. Thank you for hopping in. But, no, there's no part of this right now that feels coherent. me being a cis-het white guy does not mean that every time some cis-het white guy goes and perpetuates a spat of violence, do I have to go up and talk about it or shout about it. I don't have to. It's not my responsibility. Just like it's not every trans woman's responsibility or trans man's responsibility to get up on a podium and talk about the terrible things that these trans people have done and they don't represent the trans community. They don't have to do that. That's not their responsibility. Not everybody has the fucking time.
Because you want to call these people pick-me's, you want to call these people, oh, they speaking conservative talking points.
Yeah, I think people like Blair White are pick-me's, and they'd be some of the first ones lined up against the wall in Nazi Germany. But, okay.
It's like, no. It's like, why you think the LBTT is dropping the whole T? Shit.
I don't have the crayons or the slurs to explain to you how stupid that statement was. But I'm gonna try anyway. I said the LB titty. The LB itty. Lightbuster, thank you for redeeming your points, but it doesn't get turned into that. Yours and Axo's get turned into the woos. Did you say crayons or the slurs? Both. So, listen. I'm gonna make something very, very simple and very, very clear. There are people who are stupid who are LGBT. There are people who are dumb who are LGBT. And these people try to drop any particular part of that acronym because they feel like they aren't truly representative of the people in the acronym. This has been a thing going on. This type of gatekeeping has been going on in everything since the dawn of the idea of fandom. I don't give a shit if there are some LGBTQ people who want to drop the T or drop the Q. I don't care. It doesn't mean jack shit. Just like it doesn't matter when there are people in the Sonic fandom who want to drop the classic fans or the modern fans or the meta fans or what have you. At any point in time when there is a group of people, there will be people who want to try to gatekeep it. I don't have to care about that, because it will happen no matter what, and it does not matter. So what about the pregnant Sonic fans? They can go have an abortion, but not in Texas.
And honestly, I'm bisexual, by the way. And
I don't care. I don't know why that matters. At no point in this conversation did it matter that you were bi, unless you're going to try to make the point that you are not able to be against LGBTQ stuff because you're bi, and so that somehow adds more weight to your voice.
I don't fuck with the whole, the T. I don't fuck with the trans.
Okay, I don't care.
I fuck with the good ones, but not the bad ones.
What the fuck is a good one? What the fuck is a bad one? You're the last person to need to be talking about a token.
The ones that believe that, oh, that is okay to perform sex acts on children.
Nobody has fucking said it's okay to do sex acts on kids. Nobody. Also, may I remind you, you came into this and called me a pedophile. So
it's okay to perform. Oh, it's okay to sell all this type of shit to children.
Sell what to kids? What are we selling to kids?
It's okay to teach children about like I'm sorry, but that's...
It's okay to teach children about what? Finish your goddamn sentence, you moron!
That shit's fucking disgusting. It's like, no, children should not be learning about no heterosexual sex, even that fucking...
Yes, they should. It's called sex ed. We do it in the 5th fucking grade. Holy shit. Who hurt you?
Faggot type sex. Period.
Did you just describe... There's heterosexual sex and then there's F-slur sex. There's no difference between the two of those things. There is no difference between the two of those things. I'm going to let you know right now. Genitals don't fucking matter that whole much. They really don't. And I've done just as much anal with my current girlfriend as I've done with previous ones, irrespective of whether or not there were other genitals. That shit doesn't matter. What the fuck is your problem?
It's like, it's fucking retarded. It's fucking ridiculous, bro. It's like, dude, Why you think the Bible said that?
I don't give a shit about what the Bible says. I don't. What? Why did we go from that to the Bible?
If the Bible is true, by the way, I'm an atheist.
Okay, then why are you bringing the Bible into this? Why does it matter? What? Why does it matter what the Bible says here? We're both atheists. Why is the Bible part of this conversation?
If the Bible is true, why do you think people call the Jews the synagogue of Satan? Because they done some fuck up shit. You know what they also did? They also killed fucking Jesus Christ, bro.
The Jews, they killed Jesus Christ, bro. I don't care what happened in the canon of the Christian fandom. That doesn't matter to me. I don't care about the multiple times the Christian fandom split over Catholicism and Protestantism. I don't care.
And yet, you call me anti-Semitic when
Yes! You've literally said anti-Semitic things in this conversation!
I tell it how it is. First off, the term anti-Semitism or anti-Semitic.
Finish the sentence.
Anti-Semitism.
Pause your video! Holy shit! Pause and then say the word! It's so easy! It's so easy!
Yeah, I'm shutting my words. It's not really real.
Anti-Semitism is not really real, despite all the anti-Semitic things you said here.
Because how can you hate a group of people that have done some fucked up shit?
White people have done fucked up shit. Black people has done fucked up shit. Jewish people have done fucked up shit. You can hate people who've done fucked up shit. But you have to remember that it's not every person of that group that did the fucked up shit. Israel's doing fucked up shit in Gaza right now, but that doesn't mean that fucking Joe over there, who just happens to be Jewish and just had his bar mitzvah, is an asshole. The fuck? Somebody did not raise you well. Somebody did not raise you right.
In history. It's like, they fucked over white people, they fucked over black people, they fucked over Hispanics and Asians.
Everybody fucks over everybody. Welcome to the human race. Everybody's an asshole. Get the fuck over it.
And yet you want to say that I'm being anti-Semitic when I call out the truth?
You called out
like, buddy,
Jewish people and not liking Jewish people. That's anti-Semitic.
It's like, dude, you're claiming that, oh, you know, X, Y, Z. Also, the reason why I use a voice recorder was because I know that your ass was going to look at my real voice.
So you used a voice changer because you knew that I would change it back to what it was? What the fuck was the point of the voice changer?
It's like, dude, I use voice recorders just to control people, bro.
You use a voice recorder to control people? What control have you had here? He said recorder. I know he said recorder, but then he talked about the changing of his voice. Said to troll people. Hold on.
It was going to look at my real voice. It's like, dude, I use voice recorders just to control people, bro.
Okay, so I don't know if that said control or troll, but I'll assume my chat is right.
It's like, dude, and before you call me racist,
you are racist.
Before you call me anti-Semitic,
you are anti-Semitic.
I'm not anti-Semitic, bro.
Yeah, you are.
Because the truth is not anti-Semitic.
You're not sitting there just saying the truth. You're sitting there going, I hate Jewish people. And then you added a because afterwards. That's what makes it anti-Semitic.
Period. And also, what I said about trans people is true. Because...
No, it's not. It's really not. Again, we looked up statistics here to show that they're actually more likely to be victims than victimize other people, but, you know.
When you got trans women out here that taking over women's sports...
Are they taking over women's sports? Do we have any data on that? Hold on. Last I checked, that's not what's happening. Let's see here. So did you not say earlier in this video that you're friends with literal Nazis? He did. He did say that. I wonder, let's see here. A new report has found that trans women do not have any biomedical advantage in elite sports. They have no advantage over any other women, such as cis women. Social factors such as nutrition and training qualities can affect the result, however. Are they taking over women's sports? Is there a swath of women's sports that are being dominated entirely by trans women? Because last I checked, that's not a thing that's happening. Also, if you actually knew any trans women, which I did, again, I'm dating one, but if you actually knew any trans women, then you would know that one of the first things that happens when they start taking HRT is their muscles start to deteriorate hard. Their ability to lift objects that are normal, like easy to lift normally, becomes infinitely harder. Because part of hormone therapy is the suppression of the testosterone in their bodies that is responsible for a good bit of the strength that men are associated with having. It said Razor says left-handed athletes have advantage over right-handed athletes in many sports. It is perhaps the most marked in fencing, where 40% of elite fencers are left-handed versus 10%. Where 40% of elite fencers are left-handed versus 10% of the population being left-handed. Yep. Jesus Christ. We are almost at an hour of this. How have we managed an hour of this?
Just beating the shit out of women because trans women are men.
Wait, do trans women just beat the shit out of women? I haven't seen that. Fennec the Rabbit, thank you for redeeming your points. It gets converted as well because of this. I'm sorry I can't give you more enthusiasm with your ooh-woo, but where are the trans women beating up the women? The only thing I'm seeing beat right now is your skull. There is a brain desperately trying to get out of the cocoon that it's stuck in.
That have hormones. It's like, that's just disgusting. And let's not talk about, the fact that you're dating a trans woman. First off, dude,
Yeah?
you fucking gay.
No, I'm not. I'm not. And what's funny is everybody in my chat was surprised when they found out Saki was trans. Because guess what? Enough time on hormone therapy, and you can't fucking tell anymore.
And I had no issue with that. But don't act like this trans woman you're dating is a woman. Because she
is, actually.
He is not a fucking woman because he's...
Don't misgender my fucking partner. You piece of human horseshit. I hope you goggle a blown up Lego.
a man. He was born with a penis. So you can... There's no such thing as changing your sex. Or changing your gender.
Except there is. We literally have plenty of procedures for it. Both hormonal procedures and also procedures that are done with surgeries. But since we've gotten to the point of just insulting my partner, then I'm just going to go ahead and say again, you're just a piece of human shit. And this is probably the last piece of anything from you that I'm going to deal with. Because here's the thing. I'm okay with you insulting me. In fact, I even have a rule about it on my channel that if you insult me, at least make sure that it's something that is funny. At least make sure it's something that's creative. The last thing I want to be is bored. But the minute you start insulting my partner, then I'm just going to go ahead and say, I stop considering you a human being worth time. You have 12 more seconds of my time, though. So let's see if you do anything with those 12 seconds.
Because just because you feel like a woman doesn't mean that you're a woman. So by that same logic, if I feel like I'm white, am I white?
So race and gender are two different social categories with different criterion. Anybody who has half a brain cell understands this.
Like, come on, bro. That doesn't make sense.
And neither does listening to anything else you say ever. So, that was that. I thought that we'd get something out of that, but instead, we got 10 minutes of incoherent rambling. I said, so you're okay with calling you the whitest redneck? You need sun, eh? I don't get it, Razor. So no, wait, you're not even in his own room? It sounds like he's in a locker room? It does sound like he's in a locker room. It does sound like he's in a locker room. Jesus Christ. Said again, whatever excuse you have doesn't excuse you from being a piece of shit. No. Person's a piece of shit. And that's about as far as we're going to actually allow for that. I'm okay with insults being levied at me. I'm not okay when you misgender my partner. Said you've had to put up with this shit for 10 minutes? We've put up with this shit for 59 minutes, actually. So does it sound like a locker room or a public toilet? It sounds like a locker room. That said, that's about as much of that as I can handle. Let's get into the fan art section at the end of this one for people on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, sorry, that's not happening here. But, I don't know. I don't think there was anything actually worthwhile gained from this. Still going to go up on YouTube. It'll probably be the end of that particular saga. We'll see. As always, everybody, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and enter an end of video tagline here. Hey, looks like you made it to the end of the video. That's amazing. But I do want to get into the fan art section before we close things out. And this one is from Simperoni. Said I was watching some videos and you said something like, you and me both, to hyperfixating on Undertale. So I made this. Seeing you react to people's fan art and loving it gives me so much dopamine or serotonin. I don't remember which word for it. Little bit of both. Bit of column A, and a little bit of column B. It just says a furry Suris. Hyperfixation time, motherfucker. With Sans just going, they're right behind me, aren't they? Ninjest has just redeemed it. Ooh, woo. Because I'm actually recording these ones live, so people still have the ability to fuck with me while I'm trying to do this. Just try to get through fan art, guys. It's okay. The next one we have here is from Harley Quinn, a.k.a. Danny Kitty. A doodle I did of Suris and Slime Suris and other random doodles. Aw. And the last one we have here is Wool. This one's from Jack and Quill. It's a doodle from stream that he decided to color. And it's a lumberjack Suris. Ha! Wood. Literally, the lumberjack. Get it? It's bad. It's bad pun. Also, Liskade Babbitt, thank you for giving me your points for an Ada. You fucking degen. Alrighty, guys. Thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, drop it in the Discord. I'll cover it at the end of videos. But with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the credits. Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.